Do you feel like a star, especially after you had a couple drinks in you? Well, it's no coincidence that we are talking celebrities and spirits today on the Mac Global channel, where we discuss music, arts, culture, and commerce and things that move the needle in society. Peace and blessings minus the stress, and I pray you walk in the divine path for which you were destined. It is your main man, your brother in business, King Rob, back with you again. Happy New Year. I hope you are on however many income streams that you could be, and I pray you are educating and applying yourself on a daily basis. Today, we're talking about the top 10 celebrity collaborations in 2024 when you're talking celebrities and spirits. Celebrities and spirits go back, honestly, fairly recently. You think of malt liquor endorsements in the urban entertainment community. You think Billy D. Williams with Colt 45. You think of a lot of West Coast hip hop influential St. Ides ads. You think of the malt liquor thing. You don't think of specific spirits until you move into the late 90s with Sammy Hagar, primarily known as the front man for Van Halen. In 1996, he became known for Cabo Wabo, where he would sell at bars that he co-owned until 2007, until Sky Spirits came in and purchased the rights to the brand. So when you're thinking in this modern age, you are thinking, if you are in the masses and hadn't really been following it, more of Diddy and his Ciroc relationship will probably be one of the first mainstream focal points, even though the spirits and hip hop community really were in bed together, really maybe as early as 2000. A lot of people would drop a lot of spirits names, the champagne names in their songs, but I believe Diddy and Jay-Z were the front runners of really developing some type of equity sharing relationship, or at least in the very early ongoings, just getting a check for being the face on that side of things, for being a representative. So I think Jay and Diddy both kind of carved out new lanes where there was profit sharing or some type of equity stake, small as it may have been, to move beyond just a check for representation. You saw Jay-Z go through his public dispute with Cristal, which led to the switch over to Ace of Spades. You saw him have relationship with Belvedere early on going. And that eventually led to, I can't remember the vodka that they had, Armadale. So that led to the Armadale movement. So Jay was really influential on the contrarian front, as he wanted to move beyond just talent, if you will, and representing the brand, but actually having ownership. Diddy, however, we were skeptical of his Ciroc standings earlier on because we didn't know. Everybody thought he owned it. Even to this day, some of the reports are still unclear. But what is clear is that he got it lit. So when he came to the brand was only moving a certain amount of units per month, and it was really a low amount of units. I'd have to get that. This isn't a Diddy video, but I feel myself kind of just setting a base and a comparison for what we have now, because some of the rap artists and some of that talent from the urban entertainment field kind of had to crawl so everybody else can now walk when it comes to equity and when it comes to input on production and the overall nature of the brand. It was not so. And if you in your conspiratorial bag, a lot of people would say that Diddy didn't start having the problems that he's had over the past year until he sued Diageo, which is a totally different video in itself. Leave a comment below if you'd like to hear it. But anyway, we get back to recent collaborations. I wanted to give that backstory because now it has lended the ability for these individuals to still, get a check from representation, but also to be influential, whether it be in some type of sweat equity that comes from, their art, or if it comes from a more business oriented side where they're a part of the startup and sell it off after they've used their namesake and likeness to get the product hot. There are a number of ways now that celebrities can benefit from these collaborations. So 10 of them that happened last year. We will start with number one with Kahlua and Sabrina Carpenter. So, in addition to me being a licensed realtor here in Houston, Texas, I spent the majority, over half of my adult life, no, over half of my life and all of my adult life up until last year behind a bar. I started bartending at 17 here in Houston, and my most recent stint as a job was at the Marriott Marquis. That included any style of bartending you can think of, from fast casual, clubs, stadiums, craft cocktail, high volume craft cocktail, whatever it is that you can think of. I have done it. I turned down the cruise ship. I turned down Vegas, just because at that time I would have went down there and acted a damn fool, and I knew it. So let me stay in Houston. It's already lit enough down here. But back to Sabrina Carpenter and Kahlua. Kahlua, if you think, you think of a coffee flavored liqueur, not really the sexiest spirit going into the 2010s and 2020s, but it's always been mainstays in things like, black and white Russians. And, of course, now the rebrand of the espresso martini, which has seen a resurgence in popularity. I can tell you firsthand from being behind the bar within the past 5 to 7 years. It's not like it ever went anywhere, but now it's a thing, and a lot of these brands do a very good job in repurposing and repackaging things that were considered outdated 20 years ago, So espresso martini has definitely had that resurgence even before Sabrina Carpenter blew up on the scene. But when she dominated the airwaves with her smash hit Espresso, it all kind of tied together. So in November, Kahlua came calling, partnering with the pop singer on a limited edition Espresso Martini kit. So the kit, it's a bundle that includes a 375 milliliter bottle of Absolute vodka and and Kahlua coffee liqueur, alongside Owen's espresso martini mix, a coupe glass rather, and an edible cocktail topper in the form of Carpenter's signature kiss mark. So basically, and this is the ill part about the game and how just in life things adjust, change, and react to whatever is happening. That kit is what bars in Houston and bars in markets that participated in offering to go, because of COVID. And COVID, as with any thing that changes the landscape of anything, whoever's participating in that market has to adapt and adjust, and the laws did as well. So when the laws loosened up and started allowing for more to go off premise alcohol consumption, these kits are what people with ingenuity and foresight start coming up with. Shout out to my girl J-Lo, who took over the general manager spot at Ladybirds in the Heights here in Houston. We were rocking at Ladybirds. COVID hit. I remember that Monday night when we got the phone call, like, all right, this is the absolute last night. I was hosting our karaoke night. The news reporter came out. I got everybody lit off the house Jello shots and tequila shots, of course. We had a hell of a night to close it out, but J-Lo took over that, and she was one of the first ones that I saw really execute that bundle correctly. Of course, you have to sell it with some type of side item of food, but it is what it is, and that kept some revenue coming in when you couldn't have anybody in the spot, and eventually, things loosened up and all that. So, even though a lot of people say it was the hugest scam in history, it did create scenarios where people had to get creative, and that creativity has found its way into this brand utilizing that same formula to, partner with homegirl who just randomly made the song espresso, right? I mean, there's opportunity for revenue and everything, man. We as the not 1%, not entertainers, not on top of the hill, we have to find out what the world is missing and supply it. Or we have to find out how we can fit in into the wave that's already pushing forward, So shout out to them for doing something simple, but absolutely creating that partnership with Sabrina Carpenter. And this video won't necessarily just involve people with the business equity in the business. However, all of these examples can show us how we can take advantage of what's going on. Just we as the quote unquote little people. So they used something that COVID created and they flipped it, combined it with her star power and momentum, as you would do with a stock, momentum trader, attach themselves to that, and that sold however much. And that bonus in revenue can be applied wherever it can be applied at, and maybe it can even create another situation for them. But if not, hey, this might be a one and done, but it worked out. All right, so we're going to move on to number 2, the Glenlivet and Thomas Daugherty. Scottish actor Thomas Daugherty, I don't know much about. He's got that that heartthrob look, if you will. Probably played James Bond or something, I don't know. But Glenlivet, definitely a super solid Scotch whiskey. Teamed up with him, and he's Scottish, so it only makes sense. And they launched a tartan print that featured the Scotch brand's iconic teal with a holiday collection featuring a custom print, including a bucket hat and a scarf. So they went into more of the merchandising direction as a collaboration, which you don't need to sell Glenlivet. You don't need to sell new people or new clients on its taste. You can give your existing clientele something of a fashion item as it's attached to a popular actor that is Scottish. So you feed not only your homegrown base location wise, but your homegrown base worldwide market wise that's going to drink the whiskey regardless, but you'll get an extra sale out of them because they want that bucket hat and scarf. So once again, a simple tactic and a simple maneuver that the Glenlivet did. And because, I mean, listen, their market capitalization is so large already that they don't have to reinvent the wheel flavor wise or come out with a new flavor or anything like that. No, Scotch doesn't work like that. They're going to hit you with their Glenlivet 12, their Glenlivet 15, whatever those mainstays that are going to sell. But this time they're going to give you a little something with it. So, I mean, listen, they sprinkled the print around New York City where Daugherty lives, featured it on taxi cabs and hotels and sidewalks, and boom, that's just a marketing play, generate more revenue, and utilize once again that actor's momentum, because you're going to draw eyes, and not everybody that's new eyes on. Not everybody is going to be a mainstay Scotch drinker that is a fan of this guy. So a mainstay Glenlivet drinker rather. So he'll pull other Scotch drinkers into that, and that was perfect for a holiday gift. Hey, I'm gonna buy my loved one who drinks Scotch this little setup right here. Boom, so easy. So once again, simple marketing ploys that these huge corporations are executing because they're utilizing the momentum and the energy of a third party and not necessarily having to give them equity within the product, but can definitely utilize their momentum to sell the product, So things that, you can aspire to do, because we can do these things on an individual level, and especially if we're treating ourselves like a business. If you're running yourself like an LLC and you've got, time blocks and marketing plans and 1, 3, 5 year plan, if you're treating yourself like a corporation and you're the CEO of that corporation, then whatever it is you're trying to achieve, you'll follow, these similar guidelines as the corporations do. Just because they're bigger, it's just the scale. If the model is the same, but the scale is larger. So, Our third collaboration we're going to speak of is Kettle One and Patrick Schwarzenegger. So Kettle One, out of the vodka brands, has maintained its quote unquote luxury status. It's one of the elevated brands that, price point will rival a Grey Goose. Maybe a little bit cheaper than the Belvedere, but in the same $4, you know, little liquidity zone. So, but once people in, I guess, higher rated restaurants or bars, they'll order a Kettle One martini or a Kettle One on the rocks. If you have Kettle One, they're going to gravitate to that as your top vodka if you've got, more of a meager selection underneath that. So Kettle One already has a name out there, already has a stamp. And then you partner with Patrick Schwarzenegger. So they did this, and a lot of these moves were going into the holiday season. A lot of these moves were, you know, coordinated specifically to sell the existing product, but also pair it with something. So they geared up for the holiday season. They enlisted Patrick Schwarzenegger as the brand's first spirit advisor. So Kettle One hasn't really gotten into this practice yet. This is their first go round. They haven't needed to. But why still separate yourself from what's going on when you see it's working in other sectors of your sector? So as a part of this role, he starred in ads. He shared advice on how to elevate holiday moments using the vodka. And the multi-platform campaign included social media content and, ding, 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 a cocktail kit sold around the U.S. So once again, similar formula as what Sabrina Carpenter and Kahlua did with Absolute, as far as the cocktail kit. And, it's just that simple. Patrick Schwarzenegger has if you look at individuals, I look at individuals and myself as a stock because, I'm noticing that if you can read the charts, you can read the world. And there are so many options to place your money in for a return on your investment. Just like with celebrities, just like with, anybody that has momentum. I'm starting to learn that this world works off of momentum and news. That's why celebrities fight so hard to maintain whatever image they're trying to maintain, because whatever opportunities are there for them are going to come along with news and momentum. And if the news is too negative, then those opportunities will disappear and their stock will drop. And it will be hard to generate that type of momentum by themselves. Normally, they need an engine. And these are situations where it's a reciprocal type of energy, even though the corporation may have more resources to put into the energy, but you have to have the momentum and energy there for them to be attracted to in the first place. So, once again, Kettle One did the same exact thing as Absolute and Kahlua did with Sabrina Carpenter. All right, number 4, Ammunition and Kelly Riley. I'm not familiar with Ammunition Wines and Whiskey, and it is one of the many. I mean, I'm not actively bartending anymore, but my hands and holdings, I do have holdings in a couple of venues, so I'm forced to stay somewhat abreast, but I don't have to be hugely involved anymore. So Ammunition Wines and Whiskey, I will have to look up, but it basically announced in November that Yellowstone actor Kelly Riley would be joining the leadership team as a creative visionary and brand storyteller. So whatever role you want to give these people is whatever role that some creative person thought up, and that can be executed in a certain way to influence the culture of the brand and the culture of the brand, not only as it appeals to the consumer, but as it's executed by the by the by the staff and by your infrastructure. So, having a vision, a creative visionary, and a brand storyteller can actually make working there a lot cooler. and can make the infrastructure and the staff that makes it up adopt that culture and really live it and represent it. And that's what you want in terms of a sales force and infrastructure. People that live the brand, people that are dedicated to the brand. You don't want fly by night employees. That's why working, in spirits and being a distributor or sales rep or whatever you are, it's a lot of cool things. It's a lot of cool scenarios. Of course, it's a job and there's things that, pop up that you don't like or whatever. I've never done it, but of course, from being behind the bar, interacted with reps all through the years. Some of them are good friends and, always had a cool job. You go around and you sell alcohol to bars and restaurants, like you get your placement. So a creative visionary and brand storyteller brings your company to life. And especially if it's a person that, really is similar to the character that they play and that the world or the viewing public are attached to. I imagine, being a character on Yellowstone, that cowgirl type of, aura or, yeah, aura is good. That kind of integrates with the spirit and the wine. Like, just think about it. Ammunition, wines, and whiskey. What does that sound like? So you can go into a sector of entertainment that kind of matches what your culture is as a brand and pull a character from there, and the real person is close enough a representative of that character that your core audience and who you relate to, your brand is relatable to, they're there. So that's a very coordinated and calculated move in my opinion. And maybe we go from representative as it was, years ago, 20, 30 years ago, into maybe you're not full equity partner, but you're integral in this brand. There has to be some type of equity coming out of that, but you're integral in this brand's culture origination or continuation. So in her new role, Riley starred in a new Soil to Spirit campaign that celebrated the journey whiskey takes from crop to consumption and is aiming to reshape the perceptions of women in the category. So it all fits in. That storytelling, what's better than informing the consumer on how the product is made from soil to spirit? That ownership, you witness it when you work in restaurants and bars. Your core takes ownership in the brand. They wear the merch, they take their pictures, they that's their brand. A neighborhood bar is the most profitable long-term thing that's not a self-automated, laundromat type of thing. A neighborhood bar that gives the neighborhood identity, that is there 7 days a week for the neighborhood, that celebrates the people in the neighborhood, and that gives back to the neighborhood. So that's what these corporations always try to, get back to. You get so big, you lose touch with the consumer. Now I need to balance that out. I need to get big money by big money associations that can connect to my consumer and make it still feel like I'm a small company that's listening to them. So another great collaboration. So I believe that was number 4, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to move on to number 5, which is 21 Seeds and Rachel Bilson. So 21 Seeds, I won't say is a fairly new, because I don't know when they came out, but I ran into them maybe 2 years ago. Maybe a little bit longer, but I remember them from about 2 years ago. And it's a flavored tequila brand, has a variety of flavors. I wonder, there was something special. I don't know if this was vegan. Yeah, I gotta look and see what was special that I had learned about that brand when I was working with it. But they partnered with actress Rachel Bilson in June for a new celebrity campaign that saw her reprise her role from the OC. Heard of that show, never watched it. It is what it is. She's a cute little girl. I imagine it did well. Or a young lady, woman, whatever. My bad. She's small in stature, though, from what it looks like. Anyway, the campaign featured 3 15-second spots that include callbacks to the show. Once again, unifying a character to a audience and unifying elements of that character to directly connect with the brand and using the person that plays the character to tie it all in. So, those 3 15-second spots that included callbacks to the show served as the brand's flagship seasonal campaign to highlight its versatility for summer occasions. The short ads appeared on Hulu, Max, Peacocks, and other digital platforms. Once again, you've got high level, coordinated, and very specific marketing campaigns utilizing that momentum. So there's people that loved her role on the OC. There's people that love her. There's the 21 Seeds itself being a flavored tequila, and tequila has seen a massive boost. It really took over vodka just from behind the bar. I'm not going off of statistical data right now. I'm just going off of from what I've seen, even from, I want to say, 2012. 2012, there was a massive shift, at least here in Houston. And a lot of that is in part to my man Bobby Hugel. But there was a massive shift, and that shift moved away from vodka into whiskey and tequila. Scotch whiskey and Japanese whiskey took huge strides as well. So anyway, with this 21 Seeds being a flavored tequila, and depending on what her role is, I imagine it was something young and youth oriented. It all ties into the market that they're trying to serve with the flavored tequila with 21 Seeds. The drinks like palomas and things that don't have sugar, your ranch waters and all kind of things that you can do with tequila without sugar, with being health and health conscious. All of that is merged together, and is merged with her character and with her real life person to further feed that market who appreciates her roles and her as a person, and it's the perfect product for them. In the advertisement, she's holding up a spicy margarita with tahini on the rim, and that just plays into what's hot right now, the momentum of the product. Everybody is drinking spicy margaritas right now. Everybody is drinking with tahini on the rim if they're doing tequila. Everybody, if it's frozen, are drinking mangonadas and different plays off of spice and chamoy, and so they know what they're doing. It's just another genius marketing play that we're breaking down right now, and they couldn't have done it better. They are in tune with what's happening in the market currently, and I'd be interested to look at these companies and their advertising and marketing formats that they have planned out for 10, 15 years to come, and market projections, and what the customer is going to be like and where it's going to move, what's going to get pushed onto the customer into the market. So another breakdown. And once again, if you're a small business owner or you own your job, you're not looking to be a CEO, but you own what you do. These are marketing tactics that seem very simple, but they're so much bigger because they're attached to so much momentum on either side of the deal. We move to Roku and Elle Fanning. I'm going to stop counting. I don't know. I think we're on 6. It doesn't matter. From the House of Suntory, a gin brand, Roku teamed up with actress Elle Fanning and filmmaker Sofia Coppola in June for a campaign titled Come Alive with the Seasons. A vignette starring Fanning and directed by Coppola weaved Japanese nature scenes with the 6 botanicals used in Roku's distillation. Coppola had previously worked with the House of Suntory on a campaign to celebrate its 100th anniversary. House of Suntory, a really dope brand. Roku is a really good gin. I've had. Gin is also made a strong comeback as far as newer popularity and more elements to do different cocktails with. Gin is kind of a complex spirit, as it rivals vodka in a certain way, but it's definitely more floral. And there are certain levels of the floral essences and different elements involved that can create really distinct cocktails. And it's a really good spirit to use in conjunction with another clear or by itself. And you can do so many things with it, whether you have citrus or you don't. So Roku is definitely a flavorful gin. I suggest it. Um, and so what they did once again is use something that is existing, something that is revered, and did a campaign. And the campaign this time is attached to an actress and attached to a filmmaker. So instead of giving you ideas for gifts or recipes, they're going to use Japanese nature scenes with the botanicals used in Roku's distillation and give you the visual fulfillment of seeing these botanicals that comprise the actual product in a visual format. So you're taking momentum from the actress, you're taking momentum and creativity from the filmmaker, and you're using whatever elements that you have in your product, and you're going to weave that together for a visual performance and a visual attraction to make your current or existing customer base go out and buy more. And excuse me, and advertising is hugely intertwined with visuals. So people who like gin that are affected by visuals, that think things are pretty, or that things, that's how they are attracted, they're going to go out and make that purchase once they see the visuals from this famed filmmaker and this actress. And this is a female combination, so they're going to say, hey, females do primarily um, buy what they think looks good, what is visually pleasing. So they're working the whole sewn knit piece together. Like they're piecing everything together. Sorry, I get a little weird when I'm describing things, but you're rocking with me and I appreciate it, especially if you're still listening this far in. So yeah, salute to Suntory, salute to Roku. Anything Suntory I'm messing with, honestly, bunch of great brands. We'll go over those at another time. And then, they're celebrating their 100th anniversary. So they're showing you visual beauty mixed with a mainstay spirit and product that they stand behind on a milestone of them as a company. So it makes you feel safe. It's visually attracting, and once you get it, it's a good spirit. So boom, they knocked that out the park. Valentine's and RZA. RZA is a dope dude, a dope business collaborator from what I've seen in the past. He's done a lot of amazing soundtracks and things film wise, and just in business, using words and music and sounds to create business opportunities. He's one of the benchmarks to study, analyze, and emulate if you are in a similar lane. And once again, Ballantines released in March a limited edition bottle inspired by poetry he wrote while in Scotland. So the label features a pattern created from RZA's handwritten words alongside the iconic Wu-Tang Clan hand symbol. Dubbed Ballantine 7 American Barrel, the whiskey is aged for 7 years and finished in American oak barrels. So Ballantines is a relatively young whiskey at that 7 age. I've had Ballantines. I can't remember what year it was, but it was good. I can't remember any defining characteristics. It's been a while, probably that pre-pandemic era. But once again, we're taking a spirit. Now we're taking this spirit, which is a little bit younger, and we're trying to actually push this off of visuals in direct correlation to a musical and cultural icon in RZA. So your age group that is going to revere RZA is probably new or medium experienced Scotch drinkers, as they may be early 50s at the oldest. I would say early to mid 50s at the oldest, coming from hip hop influence. They may have started elevated spirits consumption maybe in the 2000 to the 2010 era. They have been, they are now experienced travelers. They're now experienced diners. And they have a cultural defining within their sphere of friends and colleagues and family. Their defining comes within their experience of consumption of quote unquote higher spirits and maybe higher dining. So while you're not introducing one of the older Ballantines, you are reaching out to people who probably have entry level Scotch whiskey and whiskey overall experience, are elevating their spirits brands, have favorites, but they're still learning and still moving forward. And they'll probably go ahead and buy this bottle because of the RZA and because of the Wu-Tang hands on it and because of his inspiration from stuff that he actually wrote. Because people are invested in the backstory. That's why these things happen. That's why these collaborations happen. Fans, consumers, the market, the buying public, they like stories like this. So they will try the product, especially when it comes to spirits, because spirits are treated as collectibles as well. So the bottle sitting up there, it means something, just like certain bars have bottles. I remember every bar I would work at until maybe, I don't know, maybe 2010s, every bar I would work at would have a bottle of Galliano sitting there collecting dust, because Galliano rarely gets used at all. But it's going to be there because the bottle shape was amazing. But nobody's making anything with Galliano. You might make a Harvey Wallbanger once every 25 years. You know what I'm saying? That bottle is going to be there, never on the reorder list. You know what I'm saying? So that Ballantines will sit there and it will get consumed, but it's more there because the RZA has his print on that bottle. I imagine if you get an older age, it would be more pleasing to the palate, but I can't say because I haven't had it. So that's Wu-Tang forever, frontman RZA. Salute to him, and salute to hip hop in general and urban culture, quote unquote, for really defining where this thing could go. If it's not for Diddy and his relationship with Ciroc and Diageo in turn, and if it's not for Jay and his relationships, that it led down to even Dipset having Scissor, a variety of individuals in hip hop and urban media and entertainment had situations that could lead to people like Ryan Reynolds and George Clooney with their equity stakes and being able to sell for high hundreds of millions or even that $1 billion deal, which is ironically what led to Puff's anger with Diageo because of Casamigos. And one day I'll break down how urban consumer market is directly marketed to, and even down to the flavors that it likes. And Casamigos, especially the Reposado, with the vanilla notes, with the sweeter notes, have that flavor that the urban market really enjoys, and that can enjoy it. Not only, it doesn't have to be mixed, because traditionally things would have to be mixed and be more fruity and on the sweeter side. And then the palates eventually change because they were marketed to change. And, and obviously over 10 to 15 years, that market is going to grow that in age, and they're going to get a little bit more of an experience in older palate. So all these things are done with intention. And people like George Clooney, that knew where, I don't think people set out and say, hey, black people or brown people are going to drink or consume my product. But once it catches on, you already know that community is going to blow it up, because, we stick to things that we enjoy until the next wave comes and we get told what's next to enjoy. So that's kind of the gift and the curse about things. But moving forward, we've got Pegasus Distillery and Amelia Clark. Game of Thrones star Amelia Clark joined the French spirits producer Pegasus Distillery as a global brand ambassador this past June. So now we're back to the traditional global brand ambassador title. But hey, heck of a title. Pegasus produces gin, vodka, and liqueurs and entered the U.S. market in April. So really pivotal point for her to enter into. And once again, a reciprocal relationship right here because she's introducing them into the American market, even though as a global brand ambassador, there's so much more space to cover, but America is huge, especially when it comes to vodka and gin and liqueurs as well. In many ways, I see her as a muse. Her elegant stamina embody Pegasus's core values and speak to the brand's mission of savoring life to the fullest while creating lasting memories, CEO and master distiller Maxime Girardin said. So, yeah, traditional global marketing, excuse me, global brand ambassador title, with global marketing in mind, but with a direct focus on proving itself in the American market to really be a heavyweight. There's so much competition in the spirits business, even though it's almost like the music industry where you've got, only a few huge companies that control, and distribute all the other, brands. So it's really just like the music business, and it really gets ill. And it goes back to the Diageo thing, like when Diddy went with that lawsuit and said it was racially, had racial elements in it. I knew for a fact he was messing up. But I also knew that, hey, your De Leon got marketed to us. It was in bars. It was in, all the relationships were there. It just wasn't as received. It wasn't received as well as Casamigos. And you were battling against Casamigos. I mean, De Leon was heavily marketed. I even think, Jeezy had one out. I can't remember his tequila. And I believe De Leon and Jeezy's tequila were really, rapper wise, the only things in the market in post 2015, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go and double check that. That wasn't going to be a talking point right now. But that Diageo relationship once ruined, even though you're a big brand and celebrity, you're one of many brands under the Diageo umbrella, and business is business. Once any negative news comes and affects the stock, then this stock is going to drop, and I'm going to have to eventually let it go. So, yeah, once again, that led to, and it is what it is. The market liked George Clooney's tequila better. As simple as that. Whether it was marketed to or not more heavily, it doesn't matter because your brand had a run. Nothing was really happening with it because the Reposado didn't stand out. When you're doing a tequila in today's market and even yesterday's market and the future market, purists are going to look at production, distillation, things of that nature because it can drink like a whiskey. How it's aged, whatever. Consumers are going to look at it as what cocktails can I make? What does it taste like when I shoot it? And so these are the things that I believe Puff didn't fully take advantage of when it came to having people creating and marketing different cocktails, different usages for different seasons, some things that we've seen on this list that we've been talking about. TFO and Grey Goose. Prior to this year's U.S. Open, Grey Goose partnered with American tennis player Frances Tiafoe for a series of short ads featuring the tournament's signature drink, the Honey Deuce. The three 15-second videos, once again, we run into three 15-second videos, appeared on social media, YouTube, and in Times Square. Grey Goose is the official vodka sponsor of the U.S. Open and had 4 branded cocktail bars on site at the tournament. So really, just easy, real simple to figure out what's going on right here. We're going to partner, use momentum. We're going to take over this tennis tournament. We're going to partner with the tennis player of choice with momentum. We're going to link in a signature drink, which is not a super popular signature drink. So there's creation right there that we were just talking about that Diageo lacked. Um, and then 3 15-second videos, which we saw earlier on, working with Homegirl from Yellowstone. These platforms that they chose was YouTube, Times Square, and social media. So, you're going to where your audience is. You're utilizing momentum and who you're dealing with, and you're also taking over the locality, the venue, by having branded cocktail bars. And you are going to feed this drink. You're going to feed this drink. People are going to put it on social media. That drink is going to become popular. Now people are going to the liquor store to buy the ingredients for that drink. And once again, you successfully increased revenue and gave revenue a boost. Maybe you needed that. Maybe that boost right there affected your stock price. Maybe your stock rose, and maybe there were some things that you could do with that rise in stock. Like, it just all ties in. And last but not least, one of the ones that I actually noticed, because I didn't see any of these collaborations, but I wasn't in the market to receive those advertisements. But the Jameson and Anderson Paak collaboration, I did see those commercials. I do still see them to a certain degree. I think he's asking like Alexa who his party list is or whatever, and I think Tinashe was at the top of the list. But it turns out that Jameson released a 4-minute short starring Anderson in 2 acting roles and hosted a gathering in August where the global family of artists came together to distill their music. Content from the Sound Distillery will be available on the Distilled Sounds Hub on Jameson's website. So Jameson and musician Anderson Paak launched Jameson Distilled Sounds in July. And it's a program that connects artists worldwide. And the reason that is so dope is because Anderson Paak can essentially create a musician's hub that will feature not only their music, but the music of everybody that is in the Jameson global family of artists, which is a really good reciprocal situation right there, because I can have music here. I can probably feature programming on here, whether it be radio shows or whatever, involving the in-network artists. We could probably get tours and festivals together. Jameson has always done the Jameson's Ball every year, maybe even twice a year, for active bartenders, free entry. They introduce new flavors there, new cocktails, whatever. So they have a history of actively being engaged with the audience, more so, and especially with the industry, more so than any other spirit that I've noticed. I mean, all spirits do things where there's contests, all types of events or whatever, but Jameson has just been at the forefront, in my opinion. Recently, a lot of whiskeys have done a lot of good stuff. I know I was in a competition with Grey Goose at one point, had a lot of fun there, but Jameson definitely huge in what they do. So this Jameson Distilled Sounds is super dope. The opportunities that it provides for those artists in that network is super dope. And Jameson being one of those spirits that they don't have to really do anything to. They've got Jameson Black, they've got the coffee, they've got all kind of stuff, but they don't really need to do much to Jameson. Jameson is a mainstay. Jameson people shoot shots of, drink on the rocks. It's a all around, like, Swiss Army knife spirit. And just introducing, and especially if the global family of artists are emerging, up and coming, or mainstays that have younger market demographics, Jameson is really recycling its popularity into a new age of market consumers, or a new consumer age group that are coming up that eventually, drink Jameson and, jam out to the artists that are a part of that family. So very well done by the Jameson brand. Believe that's under the Suntory as well. And yeah, that is it as far as spirits and collaborations. This is an hour-long video, almost my longest video to date. And man, if you're still here, I appreciate you very much. As you know, we do market analysis and reports here on the Houston market. So if you're interested in anything Houston housing related, hit me up. I got you. Even if it's investment, commercial property, whatever it is, I either have the knowledge or I have a resource that has the knowledge and access for you. Until the next time, Happy New Year again. Stay safe out there. Peace and blessings minus the stressing. I am your brother in business, King Rob. Follow me check those numbers on IG, like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Peace. I said I'm up early, first to hit the block. I know the hustle guys smile at me. I gotta put the work in, open up shop, but won't stop till it's time to leave. I'm on the mash for 1,000 acres, brand new safe, no combination. Money coming in, no complications.